episode 47 of the My Two Tips podcast. Back from Rhinebeck and Ontario. So today is Thursday, November 2nd. I was going to try and record this episode on Monday, which was like the 30th of October, but I came down with like a 36 hour like bug after flying home from Ontario on Sunday. So I spent all day Monday on the couch just trying to feel human. Really wasn't going well. So better today, and I've had a little bit more time to think about things, which is good. So my trip to Ontario was really good. It was nice to see some people. Rhinebeck was obviously wonderful. I'm gonna get the big rain cloud out of the way now and talk about Untangled and some of the aftermath that happened from that. So, as you know, I was super excited to help Maria of Tuscan Knits vend at her booth, which was amazing. It was just a wonderful evening. Like, first off, it was chaotic. I could not believe the mass of people that were just at the event in general, and then like just how continuously busy the whole evening was. But we'll talk about that later. So I got a message from Maria on Wednesday after like leaving New York, coming back to Ontario, all that stuff, saying that essentially all the payments I processed didn't actually get processed, which I'm gutted by it. Like, I'm so horrified, and just I've apologized a million times. I don't think there's enough times to possibly apologize for it, because it was honestly just the worst thing that could have happened. So it's clearly user error, but also app error in a way, because technically the little scanner thing is an external device. And when I tried to do the first purchase through going through like the credit function, it wanted me to manually enter the credit card number even though it was in the scanner. So I don't know, I was double checking everything all night, and every payment that happened came through as paid and fulfilled. The receipts were sent. If you look at your receipts, like, it has that yes, you paid with MasterCard. However, the app didn't actually take the money. They were just verifying that the cards had available credit. So frustrating. And just horrible. It's the worst thing that could have happened, and I am unbelievably sorry. I just feel horrible about it. As horrible as it is, I'm really glad that we didn't find out until days after the fact, because we were all able to really enjoy the evening, the weekend, and just like actually have authentic joy. So as of now, I believe Maria has basically recovered all of her funds. There might be some short, so if you have not contacted Maria of Tuscan Knits, and you did purchase yarn from her at the Untangled show that took place in Kingston, New York, at the Best Western Hotel Friday, October 20th? Or was that the 19th? Friday, October 20th at the Best Western Hotel lobby conference center thing. Please, 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 please contact her. Let her know what you bought. If you want, you can also look at the receipt that was sent to you through the Shopify app, and it should have an invoice number on it, and she can reference that through her accounts as well and see the price of what you bought anyway. Please, if you haven't contacted her, please, from the bottom of my heart. Please do. Please, please do.
You see, it's all about the motive, not about the showbiz or the cool kids sitting in the corner like they're hiding away from the way they used to fall in love with someone new every Saturday. I want you bad like they say in every cliche song about teenage love.
My vacation started off with a quick trip to London, Ontario after my parents picked me up from the airport at 1:30 in the morning on like Sunday when I got there. It's just the way it kind of works out. So we got to my grandmother's house and she ended up she woke up, I guess, and came down. We chatted for a while, and I can't remember if I pulled out my knitting that night or not, but regardless, we stayed up for a while, chit-chatted, slept in. The next day I met up with the wonderful 3 hostesses of the Fiber Friends podcast, which is, let's try to go in order of where they sit. So over here is usually Caroline, Louise, and Adrian. It was really fun to hang out with them, along with myself. Carolyn's sister-in-law, Kathy, I believe it's Kathy, was there as well, and they are business partners for the Evertote bags. And my aunt came along, and so did my grandmother and my mother. So that was really fun. We all just kind of hung out and chit-chatted. There's a potential cow that's going to start up, I believe. I think we said the new year just because it's going to take quite a bit of planning to kind of get set so that it's easier for every one of you who wants to join in to have a smooth kind of process and game plan in mind, and we can just spread the word with tons of times before that. Tons of time before that. Oh, and I also picked up a kit, which I didn't bring over with me. I'm gonna have to insert a photo, which means I'll have to take one. Anyways, it was the October Fiber Friends kit, autumn kit. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it has the 7 grams a day pattern, which is a little, I'm going to call it more of a cowl pattern because chances are I'm going to probably seam it some way before I finish it, which is a herringbone stitch pattern, which I did start, but I didn't have the right needles with me when I was back home, so I frogged it and I'll start it again. But it was really lovely. It's got a really great flow to it, and for never doing a herringbone stitch pattern before, not bad. Not bad at all. The yarn was dyed by Adrian, so the pattern is written by Louise, who is Wildflower Knits. I hope that's right. If not, I'll correct myself. And then the yarn was dyed by Adrian, who is Oak Tree Yarns, and it was her colorway, something October, I believe, or autumn something or other. It's gorgeous. I didn't realize there was as many like purple little flashes and tones in it, which really makes me excited because I think it'll be really fun as I'm knitting to keep seeing that little flash of purple pop in there amongst all the goldeny oranges and yellows. So really pretty. And then there was a bag as well, which is Caroline's portion of the kit, and it's a really decent sized bag, and on the bottom half it's like a navy blue, and on the top it's like very autumnal plaid. Love it. So yes, I got that before I even did anything. Yeah, so that was really great just to hang out, and I think the next few days we were in London just kind of hanging out and chit-chatting and not doing a whole lot of stuff. I did manage to catch a picture of my grandmother and I with our Halligarth shawls. So I had started mine, and then I think my grandmother started and finished hers before I completed mine. So it was really nice to see hers in the flesh. Really fun. And then my uncle drove my mom and I down to Trenton, which is where my parents now live. So I finally got to see their new house that they've been in for the last like two and a half years, I think. So that was really fun, really nice. They threw me into Game of Thrones. I think I started on episode 3 of season 4. I see the draw of the show, but to be honest with you, I have no idea who's who, what's what, what's happening, other than like so-and-so sleeping with so-and-so, that person's dead, there's dragons, more death, and there's like some wolves that pop in every now and then. And okay, the biggest thing I found out, because I've never followed really the show before, the whole winter is coming thing, winter's always fucking coming. It's always coming. It only comes once. Mind blown. Didn't know that before, so there's a little nugget of wisdom if you are still one of the only people on the planet who haven't seen the show. When we got into Trenton, Mom and I went to Picton because I had, I guess, put on hold 2 sock blanks. And of course, one was for me. One is for a friend, Leanne, who should be receiving hers really soon. It's in the mail already, so Leanne, keep your eyes out. But this is the sock blank. Oh my goodness. So Leslie dyes these at the Rose Haven yarn shop. And I believe what happens is her husband actually like prints the outline on them, and then she goes ahead and dyes them. So they're not fully saturated. It's quite pale on the back side. But I'm in love with this. I mean, come on, you guys. A moose and a bear in a boat. In a canoe, I'm sorry. How could I not have this? This is amazing. This is everything. I have no idea if and when I'm gonna knit it. I just really get a kick out of seeing it. One thing I kind of wish I had picked up a plain one just to have that, because I think it would also be super pretty. It's almost a green like outline on it, and it would have just been on like the plain sock yarn, which I think would also look equally fun knit up because it'd be very speckly and wonderful. But this kind of took the cake. Leanne got one where the sky has a little bit more pink and the canoes are a little bit more pink. So lovely. From that store, I also picked up a skein of worsted weight yarn, which I'll have to find the label for and everything, and I'll probably talk to you more about it next time. But it was definitely a local yarn. It was 50% wool and 50% alpaca, from a combination of the Madoc area and some other town, like Cedar Hills or something Hills, fairly nearby, which is really cool. It was really nice to knit with. I already knit it up into a hat. It's a very nice like mulberry wine color. But the yarn did bleed a little bit as I was knitting through with it, like there was transfer onto my fingers. So I'm a little worried. There's some debate, well, I'm debating ripping it out and washing it, knitting it into something else. We will see. It was really lovely stuff. They also had a fingering weight in a kind of denim blue color, which was calling to me, but I resisted. I left it there for somebody else. And what else did I pick up at that shop? Bought my mom some Eucalyptus wool wash because she now has her sweater, and I figured, why not? I've never used Eucalyptus before, but I did block this sweater in it because the day we got back to Trenton, I ended up finishing it. I knit the majority of the sleeves in the car on the way back, so that was like a good 4-hour drive. I did block it. It stretched out like crazy when I blocked it, so I threw it in her dryer, in my mom's dryer, for a few minutes just to bring it back a little bit, and I think it's okay. I wore it on Sunday of Rhinebeck and many days throughout my trip, and I love it. It's so great. It's the Campside Cardi, patterned by Alicia Plummer. I will put in some photos. The yarn is Allison Barnes yarn, and it's in the Boots of Hearts colorway, which is a Tragically Hip reference, which is just fitting because I believe the day I finished it, Gord Downey, who is the lead singer, actually ended up passing away. So very fitting. It is definitely one of my favorite sweaters for many different reasons. Yay! Time to go to Rhinebeck. My mom and I rented a car, which was a great little vehicle. It was like we got upgraded to a Mitsubishi Outlander, I think it was called. It was kind of like a crossover SUV thing. It was amazing. I had to be a little careful when I was driving because that thing just wanted to frickin' go. It literally wanted to fly. I was cautious, you know, drive along with traffic, you'll be fine. So we got, goodness, what time did we leave? Let's say we left around 7:40 in the morning, 7:45. I think we got into Kingston around 2:30, 3 o'clock, somewhere in there. And then it was into Untangled, and oh my goodness. The amount of yarn that they piled into like these 2 small conference rooms was insane. Crazy. Dyers go absolutely crazy. I think Maria said she had 5 boxes like packed full of yarn, and at the end of the night we could barely fill up 2. Like there was tons of yarn in these booths, and Maria had a small booth. Like we were in the very front of the room in like the corner. It was a small booth, good booth, but definitely one of the smaller ones there because some people had ginormous ones, and they were full of yarn. The amount that some dyers produce, I mean all dyers actually, to be able to produce these quantities of yarn, I don't know how you do it. Just don't know how you do it. So I believe we started like kind of chit-chatting and like looking at things, trying to figure out like where we would stand in the booth and things like that. And some people were milling around who were volunteers and other vendors and kind of getting the lay of the land and looking at things. And I believe the VIP people who were members of the public who purchased a VIP entrance ticket. I can't remember if they got a full hour or just a half an hour to shop before the rest of everybody. Those VIP shoppers, there was a ton. So it got busy very quickly. And at some point, like, we kind of peeked through the crack of the doors at the entranceway, and you could hear the energy of excitement. Like, people were just so like, oh, I can't wait to get my hands on this. I can't wait to see that. Oh my god, I'm so excited. And I had like these visions of the scene in Mean Girls when they're in the mall and everybody kind of turns into a wild animal at the fountain, and they're all like attacking each other and like, and I just had this vision of like the knitters are coming and like, give me the yarn, which was hilarious. It wasn't quite that insane, but like, they're clearly, when the doors opened, it was like everybody is going crazy and feeding their stash 100%. So I think, I mean, we were busy the whole time, and it's so funny to watch people shop for yarn, because I'm sure we all have the same things happen to us at many different times. And like, some people are just like, oh my god, it's so pretty, I don't know what to choose, which is me like 90% of the time. And then other people are just like, oh, I've been looking at this yarn forever, and like, I wanted to buy it online, but now that I'm in person, like, oh my babies. And then there's other people who like take like a pile of yarn onto the floor and they're trying to color match as best as possible, and I get it. I get it. Every different type of shopping method or process is valid, and it's so fun to see all of that happen in the same space. It is so cool. I was lucky enough to skip away for a few minutes towards the beginning of the evening because I needed to come home with a few very, very specific things. One was a skein of Kristen's, who is Wool and Vine Yarns, Grimm on her sparkly blitz base, which I did. The only, like, I don't know what the heck was happening at her booth. I walked by with my mom very early on after she had gotten there, and like, she was putting yarn out and people were just grabbing it. It was gone. Just gone. So I think I came back maybe 15 minutes later, and I was having a panic attack. I didn't see any Grimm on a hook, on like a rack thingy, on the glitz base. I was literally like, my heart was shattering because I needed this to finish my shawl. Update, the shawl is finished. It's blocking over there. And then I saw like this one little, you know, like those boxes that are collapsible, those kind of things. There was a box and it had like a few Oracle kits in it, and the one on the top had a skein of the Grimm on the blitz stand. I was like, I have to get it. I have to get it. I need this skein. I can't not have it. So along with the skein of Grimm, there was 2 skeins along with it, because it was a 3-skein Oracle kit. So this one is the Paranormal colorway, which is really fun. It's really interesting. So I did a kit. Well, I did like a mystery yarn club with Kristen last summer, I think. And it was the Once Upon a Time club colorways, and a lot of them were more so like blacks and grays, which is quite funny. So this one is a little bit brighter, Has that kind of acidy lime green in it, which is really fun. And then it had a skein of the Coven colorway, which is the brightest skein I have of Kristen's, which really makes me happy. And I mean, it's purple. Come on. So I wasn't planning on buying an Oracle kit, but with the options that were there, I'm really glad I did. I also decided to pick up a skein of the Footsie base because it's a BFL base, and who am I kidding? I love me some BFL, and I didn't have to pay for shipping or any duty or anything like that because I was getting it in person. So this is a skein of the Footsie base, which is 80/20 superwash BFL and nylon in the last unicorn colorway, which is just really fun. I don't have a lot of these kind of colors, so I felt like totally doable, and I can use it with other stuff. I wouldn't even mind pairing it with these, or with this, sorry, can't speak. So that was my Kristen purchase. I did pick up another kit of the Oracle shawl for Annie, who asked me, like, please, if you can, pick up a skein of the last unicorn on the Volca base. Did. Just happened to be in a kit. But challenge successful. We got some Volca. Because honestly, I think she was like in and out of there within an hour. Like, she was done. She had nothing left. It, like, gone. All of it gone. Nothing. Not even like a yarn tag like lying on the floor as a memory of Kristen. Like, gone. Everything disappeared. I also, crap. I literally have stuff kind of in bits and pieces all over the place. So what I have here is what you'll see. That's just how it's going to have to be today. So I stopped by the Lemonade Shop booth because I have looked at quite a few of their colors many times online, but to get a skein or two just never seemed good with the shipping. So I picked up a skein of the Goldfish colorway, and the base is the Simple Sock, which is an 80/20 base, superwash merino and nylon, and it is just so fun. I love it. And I've looked at this skein, this colorway, for such a long time. There was another one that I was hoping to see and I didn't. It could have been there. I can't think of the color off of my head, but that booth was, again, crazy busy. It was nuts. I managed to pick up one of the special kits they had made up with the Tuft Woolens company, and that was a sock soap, hand and body bar, lip chap, and a little bag, all in the blueberry lemonade scent, which I love dearly and was really happy to pick that up. I also picked up one of the little Lemonade Shop enamel pins, which is super cute, and I think it's with some other pins that are over there somewhere. But yeah, that was awesome. And the last thing I bought from the Indie Untangled show was at the very end of the night, because these two skeins were just still sitting there at Maria's booth. And this is her shilling base, which, sorry, this is the Tuscan Knits yarn. This is the booth that I was helping at. And this is the shilling base, and it is her singles, or single. And it's 70% superwash merino and 30% silk. And it's so scrumptious. It's really pretty. And this colorway is the Persuasion colorway, which is a beautiful, like, dusty, pinky, little bit of mauve kind of tone in there. And I'm thinking, because there's 438 yards per skein, I might see if I can make this into a Tegna top. I think it'd be really special. But I did get those at the end of the evening, and was happy that I walked away with them, because I don't know how people didn't buy these. They're so pretty. They're the last 2 left that she had in this colorway on this base. So I said to myself about midway through, like, if those are still there at the end of the night, I'm taking them home. So those were lovely. And that was like the end of the night. It was crazy. We tore down her booth, and Mom and I ended up going to our hotel, and there was like a Popeyes right across the street, and we hadn't eaten since, what did we eat? I think we ate like an apple and gummy bears on the road, probably at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was now like 9:30 at night, and we were a little food crazy. We ordered a huge like family meal of fried chicken, but luckily our hotel room had a fridge in it, so we were able to kind of like have some food there each night we got back to the hotel, which was perfect. And that was Friday night. We kind of went to bed fairly early, and Saturday morning was day 1 of Rhinebeck, and we ended up, we got up fairly early because why not just get there? Why not? We had our leftover Tim Hortons cups, which we filled up in our hotel breakfast area, which was great because they were big cups. And we needed caffeine for the morning. So in the line, we had our Timmy's cups, and for the rest of the day, we kind of just had them. The line was fairly large. I think we went in at the second gate, and it was pretty big. We stood around for a while waiting to get in, because we probably got there around 8:30, a little early. But once you were in, like once the line started moving, it didn't really take that long. I had bought our tickets way in advance, so they just had to scan them on my phone. Very easy, not bad. And I'm so happy with our decision to go in the second gate. So my mission for Rhinebeck was to find some special fibers and some just different stuff that I can't get here or easily. So the booths and buildings that were kind of on that half of the fairgrounds were a little more as to what I was looking for. The very first booth that I ended up buying something from, I can't even think of the name, which is really, really upsetting and sad. And I don't even have the pattern with me. But I bought a Christmas stocking pattern with a Fair Isle Moose technique on it, or pattern on it. And this booth was amazing. I did take a video, and hopefully the name pops up in there, because then I can add it onto the screen. But this booth, they herd their own sheep. They shear their own sheep and mill their own sheep. I think they mill their own yarn. Maybe they send it away, but she does dye it all herself. And all the things that you see in the video that are knit, she has knit. The stockings are all knit on a machine, as are the hats, and she creates her own punch cards for all the patterns that she has on them. It was amazing. There was a stocking with a blue jay on it that was really quite stunning too. Hopefully it shows in the video. She didn't have the pattern written up for that one yet, but I'm really, really hoping that I can find it at some point. The hats are kind of like the hats with like the ear flaps and like the dangly little strappy cord thingies. Yep, those are knit on the machine too, and she knits the interior lining out of a cotton so that it's softer for people to wear them. They were gorgeous. Absolutely wonderful. They also had a Christmas tree set up with like tiny little ornaments all set up on it. It was very, very cute. Further back in that building, we ended up, to be honest with you, I didn't even look twice at this booth. I didn't. It was my mom that pulled me in and kind of amazing. So I think there was a sign saying like soft wool, and my mom has claimed for years, kind of forever, that she's allergic to wool. So I think she felt it and was like, oh my god, it's not itchy. I was like, oh mom, what is it? Let me see what this is. Turns out it's Polworth. So it's the Sea Colors Yarns booth, and Nanny was there, and she's the owner and like the be all end all of this company. So she raises Polworth sheep, and she's like one of the only people that do, I believe, on the East Coast, and it is like, it's so cool. She has a very, very fascinating business. So she does it all. She has the sheep, she herds them, she grows their grass, she literally does everything. The only thing she doesn't do is she doesn't spin her fibers into yarn. She sends that out to a mill. However, she does dye it. And the way that she dyes her yarn, so this is 5 skeins of her worsted Polworth, and it's just this lovely kind of dusty denim blue. It's 5 skeins. Each skein had 270 yards, so I bought 5. And she twisted it into this lovely yarn baby. I'm so excited. And it literally is so soft. And so the interesting thing about the way that she dyes her yarn is she uses seawater as the water, and she solarly dyes all of her yarn. I can't imagine the time it takes. And her booth was packed full of stuff. And she had a lovely apprentice there with her, or who's going to be her apprentice, Rose Ellen, who was a doll and wearing a cute Pharaoh sweater, and just also lovely to chat with. Hopefully I'll insert some videos and stuff that I have and photos, because as my first yarn purchase from Rhinebeck, it just topped it all off. I'm not entirely sure of what sweater pattern it'll be, but I have 1,350 yards to play with, so I want it to be something like super cozy and wonderful. We'll just have to see what it becomes, because it literally is amazing. I believe it's a 2-ply. Yeah, it's a 2-ply, and it's got some good squish to it, so it's definitely that Polworth squish and like softness, but like it also feels like it's just gonna hold up really, really well. I did get another skein of that as well in the brown. I think it was something like you buy a sweater's quantity, you got an extra skein. And it's this lovely chocolatey brown colorway. I think she was calling it pumpernickel, so I'm not entirely sure if that was the sheep it came from, or if that was what she called the color. But I really like it. It's probably, I don't know, it's gonna have to be something really nice. It could be a cowl, I don't know. I just want to squish it. So good.
Sea Colors. So shout it out.
Yeah, I love it.
You know what? It's unbelievable to knit with. It's a very juicy yarn. I raise fine wool.
And what's in the base?
I'm the only Polworth breeder in the country. I've been doing it since 91 with the Polworth. I've been doing this since 81, but I started Polworth in 91. I just imported $15,000 worth of genetics, which means semen, which is nice to use in a sentence, right?
Heck
We don't-
yeah.
We don't get to use that in a sentence very often.
All the semen, all day long.
It's like a spelling bee. Can you spell this word and use it in a sentence? And so I'll actually start a breed registry, and hopefully that's my little gift. So then when they buy it, I snap it out, Miss Rosella.
31. Yes, I remember the booth number. The first booth was booth 26, just FYI. But the next booth we ran into. Into this wonderful booth, which of course happens to be run by a Polish family. If I have never mentioned it on the podcast, I am 50% Polish. My mother is 100% first generation Polish Canadian. So this is Jan Marek Ruskowski Studios. I can't speak Polish very well, but that's the booth. And at first, when I felt the yarn, I was kind of like, oh yeah, it feels, I mean, it's super soft and squishy, and, I don't know what the heck they were talking about because it was in Polish, but I think Mom found out that his mother had started the company and she's like 91 years old now, so he now runs the company and dyes it all and all this stuff. So the booth had like some fingering weight like mohair with some stellina of some sort in it. And the stuff at like the first little third, not even a third of the booth, like maybe a fifth of the booth, was the only superwash stuff he had. Everything else, non-superwash, 100% BFL. I cannot get over how wonderfully soft this stuff is. Like, I'm having a hard time believing that it's BFL because it literally, it's so soft. It's non-superwash, 100% BFL. It is a DK weight. I think it's another 2-ply yarn. Maybe a 3. It's either 2 or 3. I'm gonna go with 3. 1, 2, 3. 3-ply yarn. It is the DK weight, and there's approximately 330 yards in each of these. So I picked up 2. This color I'm kind of wish I got a full sweaters quantity because it's so soft. It's really, really wonderful. Like I can't stop squishing it and feeling it. And then this purple colorway has a little bit more tonality to it. There's some lighter, almost pink tones and then some darker purple tones. So I figured they could work really well together for some color work, like a hat and some mitts, something. We'll figure it out. But that was kind of special. And because my mom had such a good time at that booth, I'm sure I'll maybe make something for her out of that. But I don't know, honestly, a sweater out of this would be fantastic. So maybe in the future. After that, we ended up walking around for a while. We met up with some people. I can't even remember everybody I saw. I think early that morning we'd run into Marsha and didn't even take a photo with Marsha, but we saw her for a bit. And I think we were on our way to the Harrisville Designs booth. Yeah. So many people also hit up the booth, and I picked up a sweater's quantity of the Peace Fleece worsted in this beautiful red color, which is so hard to capture accurately. But there's really nice blue, black, kind of a purpley fleck in it. I really like it. And it is a 75% merino wool and 25% mohair blend. It's gorgeous stuff. And the price point on this was great. I think they also had it at like a discounted price. So 6 skeins was amazing. I'm highly debating getting some more. I didn't buy any actual Harrisville yarn, partially because I can get it around here. But it was super nice. Actually, turns out the guy who went and picked up my yarn from behind the counter is, his name is Nick. He's the owner and operator of Harrisville Designs. I believe it was his parents that started it up and had the business, and now he's taking it over. Didn't find that out till after the fact, so I went up and I was like, Nick, can we take a photo? And then he ended up taking a photo of me later because I was wearing my Stasis pullover, which I used the Harrisville Shetland fingering weight out of. So super fun. At that booth there was tons of people there too. I ran into Ramona and Eric of Sticks Plus Twine. Selma was there from Little Big Knits. Lorelei was there, and it was so funny. So Friday night, Lorelei was at the Tuscan Knits booth as well. Did we take a photo? Nope. Did we take a photo at the Harrisville booth? Nope. Did we take a photo together at the meetup? Nope. It wasn't until like super late on Sunday that I actually got like a photo with Lorelei, which is just, it's funny how things work out at a fiber festival. But yeah, so that was good. So I felt really good with those purchases because, like, hello, kind of a bit for not even being super far into the day. But that's okay. After that, we ended up just walking around quite a bit, and we happened to stop at the Dancing Leaf Farm booth, and turns out my mom had chatted to one of the women at Untangled and was chit-chatting with her about, I think, a cowl she was knitting, or a cowl shawl convertible something or other. And my mom's like, oh, I met this lady last night. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I think she met more people than I probably did. But I picked up these 2 skeins of worsted weight yarn because it just so happens that these are, is it Dragon Glass? I think it's Dragon Glass. That thing that makes, like, are they White Walkers? See, clearly not a huge fan of Game of Thrones, but like I know some of the lingo. So this is actually the same colorway, different dye pots. At least that's what we could figure out. So these are both Dragon Glass, or at least that's what I'm going with. They are on the worsted base, which is Charleston, 100% superwash merino, and this stuff is super soft. Really soft. So my plan for these, because I wasn't planning on buying a whole lot of like superwash merino stuff, but because it was Game of Thrones inspired, my uncle is a huge fan of the show, and so is my brother, so I figured for Christmas they can get some matching hats. So I think that'll be fun. I have a feeling this one's gonna go to my brother, that one's gonna go to my uncle, but I think I'll probably knit the same hat, and we'll just see. But that was super fun. And they're super soft. And I think they're gonna be really, really nice to knit. Because I think they're both gonna knit up quite differently. It'll be really interesting to see what they both look like at the end. Maybe like a cabled hat. Or like a cool like slip stitch pattern or something. I don't know. Maybe a dragon scaly looking stitch pattern. I don't know. So that was day 1 of Rhinebeck. No, it wasn't. That's not all. So after like buying some yarn, I think Mom and I went and got some lunch. We ended up at the lemongrass place, which is a place that had the pumpkin soup. I ended up getting like a pulled pork banh mi sandwich, I believe. It was really good. I didn't realize how hungry I was until we actually like got our food and I devoured it. And then after lunch, it was the podcaster meetup, which was, again, tons of people in there. I could not believe it. I had a few people come up to me and they were like, oh, I watch your podcast. I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. But it's super fun and everybody is just so nice and like it's the coolest. It really is just the coolest. So there was a few people that I really wanted to talk to and say hi to, which I don't think I said hi to everybody because some of it, like, I still get kind of nervous at times. Like, some people are just so cool and like, who am I to go up to you? So my good way of diffusing, like, the awkwardness sometimes of what it can be is like, oh, can I take a picture? Which is kind of funny. But yeah, it was good. It was nice to kind of see everybody together and actually see, like, because I watched so many podcasts of people that were there, it was nice to see their finished objects in person, as well as meet them, of course, but like it's different when you see like a knit object on somebody's like camera feed versus in the flesh, and you can like feel it and touch it and see how it actually fits them that much better because they're like actually standing normal. They're not like trying to show you the whole thing awkwardly. So that was really cool. I ended up meeting Stacy from Stress Knits in person, which she's lovely. She's adorable. And I was a little shocked to see that Esther wasn't there. I don't know where she was. I forgot to ask her. But it was so cute to like hang out with her, meet her husband Doug, who I think I met later on in the day, but at some point I met him. And she was just so adorable. And I had purchased her October Gilmore Girls Mystery Yarn Club. And I was like, well, since you're coming to Rhinebeck, can I just pick it up from you at Rhinebeck? She's like, yes. So, hopefully not crazy spoiler alerts for everybody, but this is the October Gilmore Girls Stress Knits colorway. And it is called Where You Lead. And it's on the favorite sock, or the favorite base, which is the 80/20 merino and nylon. And it is so pretty. I love it. It's just like, it's perfect. It's perfect. I need all the Gilmore Girls. Everything. So I got that. I also had to pick up a parcel from Lorelei because I got it shipped to her house, which I don't have with me, but I will show at a later date. It was a project bag and a Acreworks gauge device, let's call it, gauge tool, and some more of the Chowgu twist minis. I'm addicted, what can I say? So I think socks are going to happen probably sooner than later. But that was good. I also got to chat with her a little bit more on Saturday. Who else did I run into? I'll put up pictures and stuff too, because that always helps jog my memory. I ran into Caitlin of the Wool Jewel podcast and her sister, who I can't remember her name, so sorry. But that was super fun because I was really excited to meet her and chat with her in person. Not that we chatted a lot because everybody's just like running around like, oh my god, this is crazy, we're at Rhinebeck. But good to see you and meet you anyway. And what was she wearing on Saturday? It was one of the Caitlin Hunter patterns that she did recently with like the baubles and the yoke and stuff. It looked really, really good in person. So ideas. And then I ran into Annie because I had to deliver the Volan vine that I got for her. And she surprised me with some of her yarn. And funny story. So she handed me 2 skeins. And she goes, but we have to find Amanda, who is the yarn enabler, because she stole a skein. Which is quite funny. So this is the For Elise colorway, or at least it's the For Elise skeins of this colorway, and it's on her Hampton base, which is the fingering weight MCN, so 80-10-10 superwash merino and nylon, from Knitting It Up, who is Annie. And I think, to me, so they're all dyed in the same dye pot, but I hope you can kind of see that bit of difference in there. So they are all the same, definitely need to alternate. However, it almost looks like a fade. Like this one is definitely the darkest, this one is more the medium, and this one is a little bit lighter, at least with the way that they're twisted. But super fun. I really like it. And I believe she just had an update yesterday. Let me just check, because I believe a colorway very similar to this one is in there. Yes. So I believe the Read My Mind colorway is very similar to this one. Possibly the darker one that's on her website right now in her shop is very similar. So if you are really, really stunned by this beautiful colorway, you can get some on a heavier base. I think it was the DK base. It's either DK or worsted. But this, when somebody dyes you up something and gives it to you as a surprise, like it strikes on that level of just pure freaking what the hell. It's so amazing. I almost cried, and it like brings tears to my eyes because it's just so thoughtful and lovely. And there's 3 skeins here, so 385 yards each. I have like close to 1,200 yards here, which not bad. I'm kind of thinking I could make it into another old romance cardigan. It needs to be a sweater, and it needs to be loved. Although it could be like a huge ginormous shawl as well. I have to think about this one, but Annie, I can't thank you enough. It is gorgeous. This one I think I retwisted, so it looks a lot different than these two, but let me tell you, they're all amazing. What else happened at the meetup? Lots of hugs and smiles. It's funny. I don't have a picture of me with the periscoping sisters. I have pictures with Amy and with Debbie, because they were quite popular, those ladies. And it was nice to actually meet them in person. I think I've chatted a slight bit more with Debbie through like Instagram and stuff, but I did did end up running into Amy on Sunday, which I'll talk to you about later. After the meetup, I think I found my mom in Building E, which is kind of where I sent her to just kind of have some time and not be too overwhelmed by like the sheer chaos of people to an extent. So Building E had like the wine, some food, soaps, oil, like just a whole whack of stuff in there. And I found her in there. We kind of bopped around to a few little booths. And then I was like, okay, there's the 3 buildings right nearby. Let's go take a quick peek through and we'll just kind of see what's in there. That's where like the Miss Babs booth was, and I think, what else was in there? The books were in there as well. They had like a whole section of books in there. So we just kind of like whipped through, and I ended up going into the Fox Hill Farm booth because I believe Kristen at the meetup had like pulled out the Cormo she bought from there, and I was like, oh my god, I need that. So we went. I bought some Cormo. But it was a little bit of a sad story because as I was getting ready to pay for this luscious, amazing, wonderful stuff, got stung by a freaking wasp in the armpit, which kind of like halted our day because I didn't feel 100% after that. Like I literally felt like crap, and it was swollen. It's my first ever sting by a bug, so that kind of just halted everything. We went to the first aid booth. We got some ice, some itch relief cream. We headed back to the hotel. Not bad, not the worst. But we did end up just hanging out Saturday night, sorry. And then we had to pick Chanel up from the train station at like 2 o'clock in the morning, which was crazy. But luckily enough, because we had gone back to the hotel early, like I was kind of napping on and off, and worked out quite well. So Chanel ended up coming back to our hotel with us and staying the night. Not that we slept a whole lot, but we ended up getting to bed around like 4:30 in the morning because of course we had to go over the day's events and like squish all the yarn and be super excited like 5-year-olds at a slumber party. It was perfect. But my battery is dying, so gonna charge it and then we'll talk about day 2 of Rhinebeck. Okay, now we're going. So the light has changed. It's, I don't know, a solid 45 minutes of charging this battery, so I hope I can get everything in and not be too rushed. But day 2, my mom, Chanel of the Piper Nail podcast, and myself, we headed to Rhinebeck fairly early in the morning. We did take a little bit of time and like caffeinated and ate a little bit of breakfast in the lobby of the hotel and chit-chatted with a fair amount of fellow Rhinebeckers, which was great. And we got there before opening. Again, we didn't have to wait too long in line at all, I don't think. I'm trying to actually think if there was a line. I can't remember. But we got in and Chanel was looking more into spinning related stuff, which I didn't really look at all on Saturday. So I felt like why not follow her along and look through some buildings that we didn't look through, which actually turned out to be pretty good because there was a fair amount of fiber and spinning related things in the buildings that we started out at. So I did take a few videos of Chanel trying out some different wheels because that was like a really big thing on her list, was trying some different wheels, trying to come up with a decision of what wheel she wanted to purchase. She didn't end up making a purchase at Rhinebeck, but I think she's decided on the wheel that she wants to get, but don't quote me on it. I would consider myself still a very, very beginner spinner, and I've only done Turkish spindle spinning at that point. So to watch the ease that she is able to spin at is remarkable. It is so fascinating. And like, sit down at a wheel and she's picked it up. Just, there you go, look at that, you're spinning on a wheel. Like, it just blows my freaking mind. And we were at one booth and they had amazing selection of fibers, like different everything. There was one that really caught my eye. I didn't pick any up. I kind of wish I did now after the fact, but it was a Coopworth fiber, which is, I talked to the shop booth lady and she was saying it's a mixed breed of a Corriedale and a Polworth. So I'm kind of kicking myself in the pants and I want to look more into how that breed actually came to be, because there's something about them being, I think it was the Polworth aspect of it, were imported to the United States from New Zealand / Australia out that way, and before they could be brought into the States, they had to be like quarantined in Canada for like a month or something, which is kind of fascinating. So it's got a little bit of a cool story, and I wouldn't mind like keeping my eyes open for it again down the road. We poked around in quite a few different buildings and booths. I did see the Green Mountain Spinnery booth. I was really taken with the New Mexico organic yarn they had, which I think was a worsted, but it came in 2 gray colors, and it was sitting beside this other blend in this really rich kind of yellowy gold color, which really took my, like, really wanted that one, but they didn't have it in the base I wanted, so I was like, you know what, it's okay, I'm not going home empty-handed, it's okay, step away from the yarn, it's okay. Yeah, I can't remember exactly how things went on Sunday. It's also been a few Sundays since then now, and yeah, I ended up, at one point Chanel and I got separated, so I kind of just was like, okay, I'll just go over here and look at this. I ended up in the book section and I picked up Bristol Ivy's Knitting Outside the Box book, which is gorgeous. I'll talk about it at another date, but it is so pretty, and the patterns in it, there's definitely a few that are on my list. Kind of fun to see all the samples in person too. There's a shawl that is gigantic but looks super, super cozy and kind of fun to knit. So I'll see about that. Of course, there's a few sweater patterns in there, which I'm like, oh my goodness, yes please. So we'll see what happens with that. At least I have the book, I have the patterns. We'll see what happens. I also picked up needles, of single, like straight needles, from the Indian Lake Artisans booth. And these are the guys with the hexagonal needles, or I think it's hexagonal. I think. And I also picked up a shawl pin because I have many plans to knit some heavier weight shawls, and this little wooden cabin, copper cabin that's on the top, I couldn't resist, and you know, why the frick not? So I bought that, and the needles I got are a US 9, I think 5.5 millimeter needle, so it's kind of a large size. I don't knit with 9s a lot, but the reason why I got them is because they have little, they call them rowboats. I'm calling them half canoes just because that's the way I am, but these are super cool. And I don't remember which wood this shawl pin is out of, but the needles I got are the cherry, and they're literally like holding a pencil. I mean, I don't knit like that, but the feel of it is very comfortable in your hands, and because they're wooden, they have that warmth to them. They had quite a few different samples at their booth that you could just, you know, knit a few rows on if you wanted, or a few stitches, and they were really comfortable. They're very light, but they also feel, they just feel comfortable. They just feel good. So check them out if you haven't. As far as I know, they don't wholesale to anybody, so you have to buy direct from them, which is IndianLakeArtisans.com. But yeah, that was my only other purchase on Sunday. And after that, I think I got lunch, met back up with my mom, and we had lunch, I think. No, maybe I don't know, maybe we went back to the hill and hung out with some people and chit-chatted. Finally ran into Maria on Sunday, and Jenny, who she was kind of walking around with, which was so good because didn't even see them on Saturday. Don't know where the heck they were. So it was so good to see them. And we chatted for a few minutes, and then I think we ended up getting stuff from one of the lamb food cart booth things, which was amazing. So good. And like, I've never cooked lamb at home, but I kind of think I want to try. Can't be that difficult, but it'd be super tasty. And what else did we do? Oh, Sunday morning, one of the first things we did was we went to the cider house little hut and got apple cider donuts and some apple cider, and the bees there were insane. I was, yeah, not super keen to be around that many wasps, I think is what they were, like yellow jacks, hornets, whatever the heck. But they were everywhere, except for at the maple booth, which was really, really funny. So I guess they don't like maple, I guess. But yeah, around like the cider house booth, look out, they were everywhere. But the donuts were fabulous. I get the hype. The cider was also really good. I mean, everything was fabulous. Everything was delicious. I didn't eat one thing that was gross. I didn't drink one thing that was bad. Like, everything was fabulous. The people were amazing. The weather was, let's call it amazing, even though it was a little hot. People were like stripping off their sweaters. I'm pretty sure next year, if you knit a bikini, you'll be fine. Rhinebeck bikinis for the win. But it was really lovely. Mom and I decided to hit the road fairly early because we had to drive back to Ontario, good 6 hours, and I didn't want to get home too late. Like, I mean, it was going to be a late night anyway, but not too bad. We ended up getting home, and you share and you offload all the happenings, and that was really fun, and went over my purchases and just told him lots of events and stuff, which I'm sure I'm forgetting like a gajillion things, but whatever, happens. And then my last week in Ontario was pretty chill. I didn't do too many things. Hung out with one of my best friends Wednesday and Thursday. We did a corn maze, which I've never done before in my life. It was a lot of fun. Got a candy apple, which again haven't had in years, and it's so good. Apple crystal, like we just kind of fully enjoyed it. I got to meet her little kitty named Bruce, who's adorable, and just hung out, had a little bit of time away from the family, which was good. Got to see her house as well, so just good things all around. Friday night I met up with Hannah of Palindrome Knits, who I did run into a few times at Rhinebeck as well. We met up for dinner and just kind of like hung out Friday night, which was really good. And I believe she's going to carry a Polworth DK base in her shop. It's so squishy. I really want some. Really, really want some. But, you know, in the future, later. But that was super fun to hang out with her, because I feel like there's sometimes when you meet these people who, like, yes, we have a common thread. Yes, we've chit-chatted on Instagram and things like that, but to actually get some quality time with people just is amazing. It really is fun, and I think it's, I'll make a point of hanging out with her again next time I'm home, because why not? She's a good person, we're friends, and I can't wait till next time. Saturday, before I flew home, I hung out with another one of my best friends, saw her new place. We ended up in Peterborough, Ontario, and we kind of walked around. It was a rainy day, but we ended up like walking around, getting some coffee and treats from this Silver Bean Cafe, because it was their last weekend. And they're right on the Trent Severn Waterway. It's a really cool little coffee place. If you're ever in Peterborough, go check out Silver Bean. More so summer, early fall, and spring, but regardless, amazing place. And we ended up walking around downtown before we went out for lunch, and we just kind of happened to go into some cool stores. So one store I picked up some cool pins from, which I'll show in a little bit, but we ended up in Needles in the Hay because I wanted to check it out since it changed ownership, and they have now started carrying some bigger name yarns as well. Like they have the whole Brooklyn Tweed line. They also have like the Manos del Uruguay stuff. They have these really cool sock kits from a local dyer. I can't remember the name, but I was very tempted by those. It was quite funny. I guess because I know knit speak, I know the lingo, the minute I'm around other fellow knitters and in something like a yarn store, I guess I just go into that language. And my friend was like, it was amazing. Like the minute you walked in there, you were just a completely different person. You were like wearing your knitter hat, and it was cool to just watch you kind of do your thing. Really cool. So I picked up some stuff there too, because it's what you do. So the first thing I really wanted to pick up, because I knew they had it, was the Croft Shetland Tweed, which is a combination, like it's a collaboration between Jameson and Smith and West Yorkshire Spinners, I believe, yeah. Which is super cool. So it's 100% Shetland wool, and it's an Aran weight. There's 182 yards in here. I think it's Aran weight. Yeah. So Aran, worsted, whatever. But I got the Closta colorway, which is, you know, kind of in my wheelhouse. Purplies and blues on a creamy base. And I figured I'd get 2 skeins. So that's what, 364 yards, which should be enough to do something really nice. Thinking like a big chunky cowl or something or other. It's actually quite soft. So I think it's along that line of like the rustic wools without being what everybody thinks is rustic wools are just being scratchy. It doesn't feel like that. So go and feel it. If a local yarn store near you carries it, go feel it. And I also ended up finding some of the Fleece Artist National Parks collection. They had quite a bit there still, and I was just there on Saturday. Like not even a whole week ago. So if you're looking for some of the colors, they have a few left. I ended up with the Greenwich Dunes PI colorway. It's very minty, gold, tealy blues. Really pretty. The base is... let's see what it is, because I don't know. 100% superwash merino. It's their merino slim base, so it's a single. And there is 437 yards in there. Not bad. Pretty good. I like it. And I've never had any fleece arts before, so kind of seemed fitting that I was home and got some of that. I also picked up a skein of the Brooklyn Tweed Veil in the Klimt colorway because it was just needed to come home with me. And why not buy a skein of lace? There's what in here. 450 yards. Perfect. So it'll be something gorgeous. I don't know, but something really pretty. Can't go wrong. And then I came across some minis. So this is the Pheno base from Manos del Uruguay. I can't tell you the colors off the top of my head because I don't know them. But it was a really pretty mini kit, mini skein kit. It looks something like this. And I bought this other skein to go with it. Because they have 3 patterns that, like, if you buy this base from them, you can download 3 free patterns and use them. I'm not sure if I'll use them together. I kind of feel like I want to. But again, I've never had Manos and they were just so pretty. And I had a very different palette when I was in there. So, like, look at all these softer colors, warmer tone, like, just what a different palette. It's so funny how depending on the day and what you're looking at, you come out with completely different stuff. So fun. This one is the opal colorway, which I don't know why I'm gravitating to so much mint lately, but maybe Candace is brushing off on me a little bit. Or maybe I'm just really wanting to join in the cow. Either way, got me some mint. But that is essentially everything I've been up to. I got this little pouch. I can't remember who gave it to me, which sucks because these are so cool. It's a little like Notions pouch that she sewed up. And like the way that you end up snapping it together, it folds on itself. So cool. I think if I had the patience to learn how to sew and use a machine, I don't know, a little project like that seems cool. And acorns because it was fall. This is the bag I got when I met up with the Fiber Friends podcast ladies. This is from their kit. Really pretty. It's got a plain inside, which I do like. It's quite large. It's a good size and so soft. And I lied before. The blue is on the top, plaid is on the bottom. This is the bag I got through Jessica Ruth D-Stash. She was selling off a whole whack of stuff to raise money. I think when I bought this one, she was raising money for her IVF treatment still. And it's Beauty and the Beast fabric. How could I pass that up? Can you even tell how gorgeous this is? Like, oh my god. Now the bag doesn't have the maker's tag in it, so I actually don't know who made it, but I love it. It's also got 2 ties, so like you can tie the bag shut over your project and then carry it around. Absolutely love it. The Acreworks swatch gauge ruler tool thingy. Very happy I have that. And then let's look at the pins. So here's my Lemonade Shop pin, still in the plastic. And you can't focus, camera. There we go. Super cute, had to get that. And I also picked up this Yarnold Palmer pin. So an Arnold Palmer is half lemonade, half iced tea. I love that combination of drinks. So when I saw this pin on the Shelly Can Instagram feed, I bought it literally the night before Rhinebeck and picked it up from her after the Untangled show. And I can't wait to put this on my jacket or bag. At the little store in Peterborough that I can't remember the name of, I found this Because I Said So pin. And this competitive napper pin. And that's kind of everything. So, if you've hung out with me this entire time, I have no idea how long this episode is going to be. Thank you so much. If I met you at Rhinebeck, thanks for making my weekend so special. I really had the best time. I think if I go again, I'm not saying I'm going next year, but if I go again, whenever that may be, I want to spend some more time actually hanging out with people. So be it on the hill, be it at some picnic tables, wherever, just hanging out and sitting down and like going a little slower with things. Who knows, maybe not bringing a credit card. Probably not going to happen. But I think it's definitely on the list for again at some point. It's just a matter of when. Honestly, it was so much fun. It was really cool to share the experience with my mom too, because it was her first real introduction to the whole fiber event, knitting event thing. And I think she really had a good time. She was pretty happy about it, I think. So that was really special. Yeah, if you came up and said hello, if we got a picture, hi, nice to meet you. It was so much fun. I'm hopefully gonna put like a nice little collage of things throughout the video, and so hopefully you've seen those. If not, they'll all just be here at the end. So again, thank you so much for joining me, and we will see you next time with more things like projects and what I've done with more details and stuff like that. So enjoy the rest of your day. I'm out of here. Bye.
Here we go, God, I know the words just flow because I'm getting low, lower than you see me get before. And please don't ignore me like I'm something you forgot at the corner store. Take a look in my book, I got a whole world to explore. I won't be a bore, love's infectious, it's about it for sure. Can't you see me coming back for war? And don't slap me across the place, me in disgrace. Now you can't relate to my everyday life. I was doing it right till you came along and broke my stride. Volume high enough to drown it out. Doing loving on my woman's couch. Jesus, why you gotta be so loud? Let me be the one to make you shout. Oh, 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 I love it when you wear that sweater. Oh, 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 I love it when you wear that sweater. You see, it's all about the motive, not about the showbiz or the cool kids sitting in the corner like they're hiding away from the way they used to fall in love with someone new every Saturday. I want you bad like they say in every cliche song about teenage love. Just a few cruel, jumbled up years, and it feels like they come and go, and then you won't be here. Volume high enough to drown it out. Doing loving on my woman's couch. Jesus, why you gotta be so loud? Let me be the one to make you shout. Oh, 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 I love it when you wear that sweater. Oh, 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 I love it when you wear that sweater. Oh, why you gotta stick around at the breakfast table? Looking better than the night before, baby. Why you gotta make me so unstable? The first time I saw you, that's what you wore. That sweater. That sweater. I hear the bell ring, the sunshine crawling over the set of swings, and I saw you in the sunlight. Falling